Hi BookTube, welcome to a Sideline video. I have a confession. Yeah, another one. I don't make the best use of YouTube Studio. I really don't explore its features. I check in, look at my dashboard quickly. I'll look real quickly at the viewing analytics just to see what's being watched. But I really go in there mainly for my comments to see what I haven't responded to because I don't get so many comments that I can't respond to them. So I feel like I should try. And I suppose it's true that I don't really expect to get many mentions, so I don't click to the next tab to look at those. And so I'm so sorry, Annie at Obscure Book Adventures. You tagged me, God, it must be going on 3 weeks ago now, and I still haven't responded. You wanted me to answer the My Favorite People questions. The tag that was invented by Gareth at Book Songs and Other Magic, and I've seen it all over the place. And so, thank you so much for tagging me. I did watch your tag response because I wanted to see whether there was any wiggle room. And by wiggle room, I mean how much am I allowed to break the rules because I can be a bit of a rule breaker. I usually resist questions that start, what is your favorite? Because it's such a struggle for me to narrow down the scope of what I like. I think I've said this in previous videos. I'm a breadth person rather than a depth person. So I love a lot of things. It's a struggle for me to kind of squeeze down to a small number of things that I like, but I'm going to try. It seems like a fun video, and you got to have some fun, some fun in life. Okay, question one. Who is your favorite author? Well, my newest favorite author is Colson Whitehead. The Nickel Boys, I'm still in recovery from that book. It was amazing. But let's talk about like my earliest favorite authors. I was one of those little girls who loved books about horses. So I loved Walter Farley's Black Stallion books and Marguerite Henry stories that were about historical horses. I can remember one about the Godolphin Arabian who began the English racing thoroughbred stock. I loved My Friend Flicka, the trilogy by Mary O'Hara. I loved drawing horses, and my dad used to take me to Exhibition Park in Vancouver to watch the horse races. I loved all that, but you know what's weird is I was less excited about the idea of owning or riding a horse, a real horse. I've only ridden a horse twice, I think. I've been bitten by a horse once, not the same one that I was riding, by the way, but I've never read everything that one author has written, even if I really like the author. So the most you can say about me and authors is there are some where I've read more titles than others, more than one title. Shakespeare would be at the top. I've read 10 of his plays. Margaret Atwood after that. I've read 5 of her novels. Then Charles Dickens, also 5. Although, 2 of those were university assignments. I really don't think I would have tackled Bleak House. It's such a concrete brick of a book. I really don't think I would have ventured into it if someone hadn't said, you need to do this to write an essay about it. But again, after the fact of reading it, I had an appreciation for it. And then if we go down from there, I've got one author, Ian McEwan, where I've read 4 titles. I've read Atonement, A Child in Time, Enduring Love, and Sweet Tooth. Jane Austen, 3 titles. Again, though, 2 of those were university assignments. Jane Austen is an author that I've come to more lately. She didn't strike me as the kind of writer I would naturally get into, but I've learned to appreciate her. After that, 2 unusual names. Douglas Coupland, Microsurf's Worst Person Ever, Girlfriend in a Coma, and Joanne Harris, the author of Chocolat. Read 3 of her books because I find her really lovely. So that's kind of that's where it sits with me. I'll have several authors where I have ventured, they've attracted me enough once for me to try another book of theirs. And that's how favorites in authors work for me. Okay, new picture because I never get to use my food pictures. They're never appropriate for most of the books that I read. But if we're going to do a video about favorites, then, my favorite foods have to be on screen. But there's no question about that. The next question is actually name your favorite comedy actor or comedian. Now, I prefer 2 different types of comedy. I either like that sort of lovingly observed commentary on real life. I'm thinking Victoria Wood. I also like Trevor Noah or Henning Wehn. Or I want to go in the opposite direction. I want to be completely silly, nonsensical, zany. Monty Python's Flying Circus, for starters, and everything I name is going to be British. I seem to sync with that kind of humor. So I like comedy acts and programs like Reeves and Mortimer. 9 out of 10 cats prefer Countdown, or Radio 4 quiz show, Mornington Crescent, but the quiz show is called, I'm sorry, I haven't a clue. Hi, everybody. If this clip looks like it's got different lighting, that's because it had to be filmed later in the day. I had a little camera malfunction with my original take, so sorry about that. I'm answering tag question number 4, which is name your favorite political figure, past or present. Now, my first reaction to that question was people have favorite political figures. Okay. I can honestly say I have no contenders for this award. I had an old friend who once served as town mayor, but I don't know anything about his career while he was in office. Also, my father's sister was active in Canadian provincial politics with regard to child welfare and Indigenous rights. I can say that I admire her work because it must have had as many letdowns as successes. She's retired now, but still very active at a community level. But I would struggle to name anybody, at higher levels. I know politics always needs compromise, but I think the higher you go, the more compromising you need to do just to stay where you are, which is a shame, really. Name your favorite dramatic, serious actor. Ooh. Well, you know what I'm like with films and television. I'm not great. It would be really foolish for any actor to rely on me for consistent fan support because I always get distracted by a book. I get distracted by several books. Maybe the better way for me to tackle this question is to tell you about the few television series that managed to hook me in so that I did what I rarely do and I watched all the episodes, right? So I have watched all episodes of Elementary with Johnny Lee Miller and Lucy Liu. I have watched all episodes of Lucifer with Tom Ellis and Lauren Germain. And I've watched all episodes of Sex Education with Asa Butterfield and Chudi Gatwa. Now, Chudi Gatwa's performances in that series really stood out for me. He seems to just take over whatever scene he was in, even if the storyline, he wasn't the main person in that storyline. So I was really excited to hear that he's been named as the next Doctor Who. Question 5, name your favorite film writer or director. When I do see films, I really don't pay attention to the writer or the director. I rarely watch or read film credits. You think I would because it's reading, isn't it? I do like plays. I like stage plays because you can buy the script and you can read it before the performance, and so that is reading. Yeah. So I could name Matt Crowley, who wrote The Boys in the Band, or James Graham, who wrote Best of Enemies. And I just thought, because Zachary Quinto played Howard in the Netflix version of The Boys in the Band, and he also played Gore Vidal in the London staging of Best of Enemies. I could name Zachary Quinto as a favorite dramatic actor, except he gets a lot of scary roles. I'm thinking like Dr. Oliver Thredson in American Horror Story, Charlie Manx in Nosferatu, and I'm too much of a coward. I think I've watched some YouTube clips, but I can never, get through the clips all the way through. Question 6, name your favorite new discovery. Well, I've been to see both Dune films, and I did pay attention to who the director was, Denis Villeneuve, and I love both of them. I feel that they're an improvement on the novel. I'm not going to say more because the second film I know has just come out in cinemas in the UK, so it's going to be rude to give any unexpected spoilers. Question 7, name your favorite musician or singer. My music tastes are, they ramble. They're eclectic and broad. And again, I never really settle with any artist, but I like to touch on them and find something that I really love. So maybe if you'll allow me this, I'm going to talk about my previous discoveries and my current newest discovery. Okay? So here we go. Previous new discoveries have been Postmodern Jukebox. Now they're a band that do covers of popular songs, but in completely different musical styles than the original. So I like those. Jurassic 5. I was pointed in their direction by a work colleague. I'd asked him, give me something that I probably have never listened to. He was absolutely right. I don't know if he realized that I would like them because I love language, and I'm not sure if Jurassic 5 are particularly unique for the amount of literary and cultural allusions that they use in their poetry, but but I love them. And maybe I just need suggestions for more rap artists. In the comments, if you feel like it, tell me if you know some other bands that you think, no, no, if you like Jurassic 5, you want to listen to, I'll go listen to that. George the Poet is my third previous new discovery. He's also a rap artist from the UK, but he's using his poetry to give essays. Ugh, that's not going to do him justice. I can't do him justice. If you are able to listen to the BBC, look up his podcast. Have you heard of George the Poet? That's what it's actually called. Go find him. He seems unique to me, but of course, you already know I'm not an expert. My next previous discovery was Slow Radio. This is a BBC podcast, and it's kind of giving you like sound landscapes, not for sleeping. I know there's some that good for sleeping and meditation. These are literally to just let you hear, just stop and listen to sounds that you might otherwise not, or you might never get to hear. For example, you can sail on a shanty boat down the Tennessee River, or you can walk through Tokyo's entertainment district, or you can hear the largest clock collection in England while you listen to meditations about time, that kind of thing. Now, my current new discovery, completely different direction, my current new discovery is Chapel Hart. Yeah, I know. They do the kind of country music that I remember from the 1970s. And so now you're probably thinking, "Oh, did you like country music in the 1970s?" No, not really. I didn't. But you couldn't help it if you lived in Western Canada, especially if you drove outside the cities and you wanted to put the radio on. I'm sorry, but you would only be able to pick up local AM stations and they would all play that kind of country. So without doing anything, I think, the sounds and the tunes, they got into my bloodstream. So now it's kind of a bit nostalgic to hear new songs that are written in the same style. And I love how they kind of do pastiche on well-known country artists. And my favorite track at the moment is their Loretta Lynn tribute called Fist City. I'll leave a link to that in my description box. Last question. Name your biggest inspirational person. Okay. Huh. See, I think I'm balking at the word inspirational. I'm sure there must be people who fit the description, but look, I look back on my life and I don't see people who stand out like incredible beacons, who are shinier than all other people, or people whose lives I want to copy in a major way. I meet plenty of people who are interesting and they're informative or they're a great help, but they aren't famous. Like, I'm going to use my friend Georgie, okay? My friend Georgie has been a rock, an absolute rock, and especially right now. She probably doesn't feel this way given the present circumstances, which I'm not going to go into, and yet she is carrying on in spite of everything. She's hanging in there, and she's hung in through a lot. Also, her film knowledge amazes me. Is there such a thing as film tube? Because if there is, like, she's cut out for it. Okay, that is all the questions done. Now I get to do a really cool thing and tag some people. And here's my list. Okay, Roz, that's Scallydandling About the Books. Just always have loved your channel title. Rita from Rita Reads It. Shaughnessy from Shaughnessy Schroeder. Johanna from Me, My Dog and Books. Mike from One Mundane Man. And Rincey from Rincey Reads. If you fancy doing this tag, here's your invitation. Have at it. I'm definitely going to look out for it and watch it. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you again, Annie, for tagging me. This was a lovely break from preparing reviews and all that heavy kind of stuff. In the meantime, everybody, good reading, whatever it is that you are reading. Take care. Bye bye.